Toyota transmissions are some of the toughest units ever built. But there is one service window most owners blow right past, and it is the most expensive mistake you can make on a Toyota. Around 75,000 miles, your automatic transmission fluid has already been through tens of thousands of heat cycles, absorbed microscopic clutch material from break-in wear, and started losing the chemical properties that keep your transmission alive. Toyota officially labels their ATF WS fluid as lifetime. That word has destroyed more transmissions than potholes and bad drivers combined. Lifetime does not mean forever. It means Toyota expects the fluid to last as long as most people keep the car. If you plan to drive your Toyota past 150,000 miles, and you should because it is a Toyota, then 75,000 miles is exactly where you either protect your transmission or start the invisible countdown toward a $3,500 to $4,500 rebuild. Here is what to do and why every single step matters. Step 1. Understand why Toyota says lifetime, but does not mean forever. Toyota introduced ATF WS, World Standard Automatic Transmission Fluid, a low-viscosity, high-performance formula designed for their modern, electronically controlled transmissions. According to Toyota's own technical service bulletin TSB 000611, the 100,000-mile maintenance interval is an inspection only, and ATF WS does not require flushing or changing during the life of the vehicle. That sounds reassuring until you realize what Toyota is actually saying. They are not saying the fluid never degrades. They are saying, under ideal conditions, it should survive the warranty period and a reasonable ownership cycle. But real-world driving is rarely ideal. Stop-and-go traffic, hot climates, towing, mountain driving, and even short commutes all accelerate fluid breakdown. Industry data from transmission specialists consistently shows that automatic transmission fluid begins losing its protective properties well before 100,000 miles when exposed to sustained heat. Every 20 degrees above the normal 175 to 200 degrees operating range cuts fluid life roughly in half. At 240 degrees, varnish starts forming inside the valve body and on clutch packs. At 260 degrees, seals begin to harden and crack. Most Toyota owners never see a temperature gauge warning because the damage happens gradually, silently, one heat cycle at a time. Step 2. Check the fluid color before deciding anything. Before you commit to a fluid change at 75,000 miles, you need to know what your fluid actually looks like. If your Toyota has a transmission dipstick, pull it out with the engine running and the transmission warmed up. Fresh Toyota. A TFWS is a clear, light red color. At 75,000 miles, you will likely see it shift to a darker red or light brown. That is normal degradation and the perfect time to service it. If the fluid looks dark brown, smells burnt, or has visible particles floating in it, change it. Also understand the transmission has already been under stress. If your Toyota has a sealed transmission with no dipstick, common on newer Camry, RAV4, Corolla, and Highlander models, you need a shop or a scan tool that can read transmission fluid temperature through the OBD2 port to properly check and fill the system. Toyota made sealed transmissions harder to service on purpose, not because the fluid does not need changing, but because they want trained technicians handling the procedure. That design decision has led millions of owners to assume service is never needed. That is exactly how transmissions die young. Step 3. Use only genuine Toyota ATF WS fluid. This is not optional, and it is not marketing. Toyota ATF WS is specifically formulated to work with the friction materials, seals, and electronic solenoids inside Toyota's modern automatic transmissions. According to Toyota's own documentation, ATF WS is not compatible with older Type T4 or Dexron automatic transmission fluid formulations. Mixing incompatible fluids can cause shift quality problems, seal swelling or shrinking, and long-term internal component damage. Aftermarket fluids that claim WS equivalency may be chemically close, but Toyota has stated clearly that substitutes or additives may result in shift concerns and damage to internal transmission components. A single quart of genuine Toyota ATF WS costs around $7 to $10 at most dealership parts counters. A full drain and fill typically requires 3 to 4 quarts. That is roughly $30 to $40 in fluid to protect a component that costs $3,500 to $4,500 to rebuild, and even more to replace with a factory remanufactured unit. There is no logical reason to gamble with aftermarket fluid to save $15. Step 4. Choose a drain and fill over a full flush. This is where most people get confused or get bad advice. A transmission flush uses a machine to push all old fluid out and replace it entirely. That sounds thorough, but it carries real risk, especially on a Toyota that has never been serviced. A flush can dislodge debris and clutch material that has settled harmlessly inside the transmission pan and push it directly into narrow valve body passages and solenoid screens. On a transmission with 75,000 miles of original fluid, that debris can cause immediate shifting problems. A drain and fill is the safer and more effective method for regular maintenance. You remove the drain plug on the transmission pan, let gravity pull out the old fluid, replace the drain plug with a new crush washer, and refill with fresh ATF WS through the fill port. A standard drain and fill replaces roughly 30 to 40% of the total fluid volume. That is about 3 to 4 quarts out of the 9 to 10 quarts the system holds. The remaining old fluid mixes with the new, and it still dramatically improves lubrication, cooling, and hydraulic performance. Many experienced Toyota technicians and long-term owners repeat this process once or twice over the following 5,000 to 10,000 miles to gradually refresh a higher percentage of the total fluid without shocking the system. This method is gentle and effective, and it is exactly how Toyota's own service procedures are designed to work. If you made it this far, then consider giving this video a like, and please subscribe to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Step 5. Always replace the drain plug crush washer. The transmission drain plug on most Toyota models uses a soft aluminum or copper crush washer that creates a seal between the plug and the transmission pan. That washer is designed to be compressed once. Reusing it is one of the most common causes of slow transmission fluid leaks after service. A slow leak might only lose a few ounces over thousands of miles, but on a transmission that holds 9 to 10 quarts total, even a 1 quart loss can drop hydraulic pressure enough to cause clutch slippage and accelerated wear. The crush washer costs less than $2 at any Toyota parts counter. There is no excuse for skipping it. Torque the drain plug to the manufacturer's specification, which is typically around 36 foot-pounds on most Toyota automatic transmissions, and check for leaks after a short idle. This single habit protects thousands of dollars in internal components. Step 6. Check the transmission cooler lines and connections. Toyota automatic transmissions use a cooling circuit that routes hot fluid from the transmission through a dedicated cooler. That cooler is usually built into the main radiator, or it may be mounted as a separate unit near the front of the vehicle. These transmission cooler lines and their connections can develop micro-leaks or become partially restricted over time. A restricted cooler cannot dissipate heat efficiently, so the fluid runs hotter even when levels appear normal. At 75,000 miles, visually inspect every rubber hose, clamp, and fitting in the cooling circuit. Look for weeping fluid, cracked rubber, or swollen hose ends. On Toyota trucks and sport utility vehicles like the Tacoma, Tundra, and 4Runner, the transmission cooler is especially important because these vehicles frequently tow or carry heavy loads. A $20 hose clamp replacement now prevents a $4,000 transmission failure later. Step 7. Inspect the transmission pan for metal debris. If you are doing a drain and fill yourself, or having a shop do it, ask them to inspect the magnetic drain plug for metal particles. A small amount of fine metallic dust on the drain plug magnet is normal, especially at 75,000 miles. That dust comes from normal break and wear of gears, clutch plates, and bearings inside the transmission. However, if you find large metallic chips, flakes, or chunks, that is a warning sign of accelerated internal wear. It does not necessarily mean the transmission is about to fail, but it does mean the fluid should be changed more frequently going forward, and the transmission deserves closer monitoring. Some owners choose to drop the entire transmission pan during their first service to visually inspect the internal filter screen and to clean the pan. Toyota's internal filter is typically a fine mesh screen, not a traditional replaceable paper filter. On most models, it does not need replacement unless it is visibly clogged or contaminated. But checking it gives you a clear picture of what is happening inside. Step 8. Monitor shifting behavior after the fluid change. After a drain and fill with fresh Toyota automatic transmission fluid WS, most owners notice an immediate improvement in shift quality. Shifts become smoother, quicker, and more predictable because the new fluid restores proper hydraulic pressure and the correct friction characteristics inside the clutch packs. However, on some high-mileage Toyota transmissions, fresh fluid can briefly expose wear that old fluid was masking. Clutch packs that were relying on degraded fluid and accumulated debris for friction may feel slightly different with clean fluid. This is temporary. Toyota's electronically controlled transmissions use adaptive learning logic that adjusts shift timing, pressure, and torque converter lockup behavior based on driving conditions. After 50 to 100 miles of normal driving, the transmission control module recalibrates and shift quality stabilizes. If shifting problems persist beyond that, the transmission likely had pre-existing wear that the fluid change revealed rather than caused. In that case, a diagnostic scan for transmission fault codes is the next step. Step 9. Establish a real maintenance schedule going forward. Toyota may call ATF WS a lifetime fluid, but the smartest Toyota owners treat transmission fluid like engine oil, something that needs regular attention. After your first drain and fill at 75,000 miles, the ideal maintenance interval for most driving conditions is every 30,000 to 60,000 miles going forward. If you tow regularly, drive in heavy traffic, or live in a hot climate, lean toward the 30,000-mile end of that range. If you mostly do highway driving in moderate temperatures, 60,000 miles between services is reasonable. This schedule keeps the fluid chemistry stable, prevents heat-related degradation, and ensures the transmission's hydraulic system operates with consistent pressure. Transmission rebuilds. On popular Toyota models like the Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and Tacoma, commonly range from $2,500 to $4,500, depending on the extent of damage and whether you go to a dealer or independent specialist. A factory remanufactured transmission can cost even more. Meanwhile, a drain and fill costs between $150 and $300 at a shop, or as little as $40 to $50 if you do it yourself. The math is not complicated. Consistent $150 services eliminate the risk of a $4,500 catastrophe. Step 10. Do not forget the transmission mount and crossmember. While you service the transmission fluid, inspect the transmission mount. The transmission mount is the rubber and metal bracket that secures the transmission to the vehicle frame crossmember. Over 75,000 miles, the rubber in the mount deteriorates from heat, vibration, and oil exposure. A worn transmission mount allows excessive movement during shifts, which increases stress on the transmission case, cooler lines, and drive shaft or axle connections. Symptoms of a failing mount include a noticeable clunk when shifting from park to drive or reverse, vibration at idle, and inconsistent shift feel. A replacement mount costs between $30 and $80 for the part. Catching it early prevents stress fractures in surrounding components. So here is the reality. Toyota builds some of the most durable transmissions on the road. But durable does not mean invincible. Every automatic transmission depends on clean fluid, stable temperatures, and consistent hydraulic pressure to survive. When any one of those three breaks down, the transmission follows. The 75,000-mile mark is where science, engineering data, and real-world experience all point to the same conclusion. Change the fluid now. Use the right fluid. Use the right method. And your Toyota transmission will reward you with another 75,000 miles of smooth, reliable shifting. Ignore it, and you will eventually hear that first hesitation, feel that first slip, and realize the damage was already done tens of thousands of miles ago. A $150 service today or a $4,500 bill tomorrow. The choice is yours, but the transmission already knows which one it needs. If you are enjoying this video, consider watching the video where I share habits that help your Toyota reach 300,000 miles.